Hey everyone, I'm Mine, and this is set number 80015, Monkey Kid's Cloud Roadster from the LEGO Monkie Kid theme. This set contains 659 pieces, 5 minifigures, and retails for $69.99 in the US. This set was sent to me by the LEGO group through the LEGO Ambassador Network, but all opinions expressed in this video are my own. So here's the main build of the set, the Cloud Roadster itself, and I have to say, I am thoroughly impressed by this. Based on box art and whatnot, I didn't have high expectations for this set. I just wasn't a fan of the overall look, and I didn't think it looked that great. But having it in hand, I actually quite like this set. It's not like one of my favorite sets of all time, but I think it's pretty good looking. The color scheme of this is very interesting. It's the same color scheme that's used for most of the Monkey Kid vehicles, but definitely gives it a very unique look. It's not just like red or green or blue or whatever like Ninjago vehicles would be. It's a combination of yellow and red and teal and a little bit of orange. And while like that's a very specific look, I do think it all comes together quite nicely. One cool thing about this set is you can see that there's these exhausts out the back with these Monkey Kid cloud pieces on them. And when you move this vehicle along the ground, that actually spins, and I think that has a really cool look to it. You can also see how this outer wheel and this inner wheel are spinning in different directions from each other, which is pretty interesting. The wheels on this vehicle, I believe, are from the latest iteration of LEGO Mindstorms. I had somebody point that out to me in one of my previous reviews where I wasn't sure where these wheels are from. And they're a really interesting part. The tire's actually connected to the hard plastic, so you don't like manually put the tire on top. But I think they're pretty good parts, and they work pretty well here. You can also see the wheel has this like teal cover on it, and there's some stickers on it, it's just some different designs. You just have two marks on the wheel right here. You have Monkey Kid's logo, Monkey Kid's symbol, and then another little logo right there of a cloud. That's the same thing on the other side. I kind of wish they were a little more different from each other. You could place the stickers differently on each side if you wanted to, but personally I think it would have been more interesting if the wheels had like unique sticker designs on them. The wheels at the front are actually printed parts, which I was kind of surprised to see. And those are identical as well, but because they're identical printed pieces and not just identical stickers, I actually don't mind that, because printed pieces are always really cool to get, and this is a great printed part. Because it's on white, it's printed so well, the teal looks absolutely perfect. And you can just see you have like a little warning symbol right there and another little like yellow sticker. And by sticker I mean it's designed to look like a sticker, but it's a print, if that makes any sense. And these have a pretty cool look when you roll the vehicle across the ground. Out of the very front of the car, you can see there's these two large yellow wing pieces. These just sort of create like a bumper at the front of the car. There's a little bit of teal right here. There's also two stickered parts. Unlike with the wheels, these stickers are actually different on each side, which provides a nice little bit of asymmetry. A stickered slope piece right here, Monkey Kid's logo on it. Two headlights that are made out of ice cream cone pieces with a stud on top. Classic LEGO windshield piece right here that opens up into the cockpit. The actual cockpit or seating area or whatever you want to call this is not the best. It's not bad by any means, it's just not that interesting. This little vent piece at the back is actually printed, which I found pretty surprising. It looks like it's just a general use printed piece, like it could be used outside of Monkey Kid, but I've never seen it used on any other set besides this one. So let me know in the comments if you guys know like where that piece is from. But yeah, it's a really cool part. I appreciate getting printed pieces. It just kind of surprised me a little bit. And then you have just like this larger steering wheel piece at the front, which can be rotated up or down if you want. And if you're curious, there's how MK looks actually in the vehicle. I know some people care about this. Personally, it doesn't bother me too much, but the windshield does not close up completely. You can see there's a little bit of a gap right there. I don't mind that, but I know it bothers a lot of people, so I thought it was worth pointing out. More lights of the same design back here. I'm not sure what to call these. Well, they're not headlights, so what would they be? Mid-lights? Torso lights? I'm not sure, but you have lights in the middle right here. There's a spring-loaded shooter feature, which is integrated pretty well. I wish there was a way to like completely hide it away, because it is always like pointing up in the air. But the actual activation's hidden pretty well, so I am a fan of that. But yeah, you can see there's this big red button right here, so all you do is push down on this, and there the blasts shoot out. Around the sides of the vehicle, there's a little bit of detailing to cover up technicals, which I really appreciate. I always think technicals in builds are usually very, very ugly, so I appreciate that they took the care to like cover that up a little bit. One of the pieces they use for just like texturing details is one of the classic LEGO red mugs, and that just feels like very LEGO to me, right? I love when LEGO just uses some older, very common parts in like an unconventional way. And they use that a few times here. You can see one there, and then they're also on the other side. It's a small little thing, but when I was putting that together, it just made me very happy to see. Next we come to these large yellow sections on the sides. These could be imagined as large thrusters and maybe large exhausts, but you have somewhat of like a little vent design right here. I think that actually looks really nice. The way they shape this entire section is really cool too. I'm not sure how well I could show it, but you have like a windshield piece in yellow right here, and that connects into this triangular piece which has studs on each side, and that connects into like the main build. And they do the same thing on the other side too. I don't know, something about that was very fun for me to build. And it's just something unique I haven't seen LEGO do too much, especially using these parts. And I think the end result also looked really good, so I'm actually very happy with these. Then we come to the large engine in the back. I think this is super cool looking. They use tons of different parts here. They use the gray pipes right here. They use barrels back here. And this feels very cartoony to me. It feels exactly like how a cartoon would design, hey, this is the biggest engine ever for like a really powerful car. And that goofiness is the kind of stuff I love in LEGO, and I think it's super well done here. It integrates into the build really well, and it just looks super nice. If I had to give one criticism, I wish these parts back here were silver like these parts up here instead of switching to light gray. I assume that's because they couldn't produce all these parts in silver. And the light gray doesn't look bad, but silver definitely would have looked better. But regardless, I still think it's a great design. Little individual bits of the engine can move too, ever so slightly, if you so desire. So you can move them up, you can move them down, and you can move these top ones around a little bit too. And then the entire engine section as well can just straight up be removed. And that leaves you with these red walls on the side, which can be rotated up. Looking inside here, you can see that there's 4 more mugs. 2 are exposed and 2 are like covered up a little bit, but their handles are exposed. This is where you insert the engine into, and that's actually a printed piece as well. Lots of just like strange printed pieces in this set. I'm not complaining, but I don't see LEGO do this many printed pieces in one set often. It's really, really cool to see. It's just surprising. While I've got this opening, you can also see how the mechanism to spin the smoke out the back works. When the wheel spins, it spins one gear, which spins other gears, etc, etc. And that allows for the play feature that I showed earlier. There's the vehicle with the engine removed. Obviously not as good looking, but I don't think it looks bad. Definitely very gappy in the back, but the build doesn't feel like incomplete with the engine there. So much so I kind of forgot the engine was removable. So I appreciate that that option's there. I don't feel like it takes away from the build at all. And if you want to design your own engine to replace that with, you can, or if you want to imagine they're racing and the engine just gets blown off. Yeah, it just gives you some different options. I appreciate that. And there's a look at the engine build removed from the car. You can see it just has this Technic pin at the bottom to connect into the car, and it's very easy to put back together. But I think that's about it for the main build of this set, so now let's move on to the side build. Here's the side build of the set, this little mini vehicle for the gold and silver demons. And I think this is alright. It's nothing all too special, very simple, but I think it looks good enough. I like the use of silver cups out the front, I think that's a really cool part. And once again, these wheels are printed, which is always super cool to see. I think that looks great. Same wheel on both sides, of course. Out the back, there's like this sparkly transparent blue piece, and I think this is supposed to be like a little mini prison cell. You can take one of the civilian characters, have them trapped back there, close that back up, and then it's not too easy for them to like fall out or anything. There's also places for both the gold and silver horn demons to attach. The gold one attaches up here with the backs of his legs to these studs right here, while silver can just attach to the seat at the front. Finally, speaking of the gold and silver horn demons, this little flyer attachment for the gold horn demon is actually the final like actual build in this set. It's just like a backpack attachment that attaches to his back, and I'm not the biggest fan of this thing. I get what it's supposed to be, you have these little propellers that fly him through the air, but it just seems a little unnecessary, a little skeletal. I don't think it looks the best. Yeah, those are looks removed from him. You can see the propellers use the same piece as the wheels on the little cart, and it definitely doesn't look bad, it's just not that interesting. But you can very easily remove this, you don't have to use this as part of the vehicle. And I think it's a fun play option for kids, it's just personally not something I'm the biggest fan of. Moving on to the minifigures, here are the first 2 in this set, the 2 that are probably the reason a lot of people are considering getting this set. We have the gold and silver demons. Before I talk about them, I want to mention their accessory real quick. These are both supposed to be the calabash, the weapon from the Monkey Kid episode of the same name, and while the shape is there, the weapons don't really make sense here. For one, there was only 1 calabash in the show, it wasn't this big, so the fact that there's 2 here is a little bit strange. But also, while the shape is here, the way it connects into the minifigure's hands, I'm not a huge fan of. It's just on this little robot arm claw piece. So it's very easy just to rotate up and down, and I don't know, that sort of takes me out of what this is supposed to be. I wish they just held it in their hand and it didn't rotate, because this just doesn't feel correct to me. It's not a huge deal, and I'm sure you could very easily modify that if you wanted to, but yeah, personally I'm not a fan of how they did these. But you get 2 of them here, 1 silver one and 1 gold one. And if you wanted to, you could probably combine the 2 to make one that's like a little bit more accurate to the show. With the weapons removed though, here's how the 2 figures look. These characters are really, really fun in the show. They're the main reason I got this set. And I think they're translated into LEGO form pretty darn well. Some leg printing would have been nice. They don't need it, but it would have been just like a nice little extra bit of detail to give them. But their new hair, horn, earpiece is a super cool part. You can see this one's gold with orange printing and this one's silver with blue printing. I kind of wish they were dual molded instead of being printed. It's not a huge deal, but I can imagine if you played with these a lot, the printing might rub off. So dual molding is definitely longer lasting than this is. But regardless, I still think it looks really good. These guys both look great. They use like the Ninjago Legacy Skulkin armor, and then they have like these armored straps across their chest, which have a Chinese character in the middle. I'm not sure exactly what these characters mean, so if somebody wants to let me know in the comments, please do. But if I had to guess, it probably means gold and silver. Turning these guys around, you can see the back of their hair and their back torso prints. It kind of looks like they have a D-pad on their back, which is pretty interesting. But other than that, it pretty much just follows the same aesthetic as the front. Here they are with hair pieces and armor removed, so you can better look at those face prints and those torso prints. And there's their back torso prints as well as their alternate faces. You can see their alternate faces are a lot less expressive than the front faces are. The front faces have like these open mouth, wide smiles. But with the alternate faces, you can see the gold demon has just like a small little closed mouth smile, while the silver demon just looks ever so slightly agitated. And then here are the other 3 minifigures in this set. We have MK, we have Chen, and we have Wang. MK is just in his Season 1 appearance, which I've talked about before on the channel, so I won't go too in depth here. But in short, I think it's a good looking figure. I prefer the Season 2 look, but this isn't bad. The headphones give him like an extra long looking neck, which I'm not a fan of. I wish those attached a little bit better. I appreciate how the figure has dual molded legs and side leg printing that makes him feel like extra special. His little logo on the back is cute too. And I like how the jacket's open at the front so you can see his t-shirt underneath. He comes with a staff, of course, that he comes with in most sets. And his face print is good, but this is one of the more common Monkey Kid face prints. It's not one of the rarer ones. Chen and Wang are just generic civilians. I don't have too much to say about them. There's a couple cool parts here. I really like Chen's face. I think that's a really interesting face print. As well as Wang's hairpiece. I believe that's the Dumbledore hair in black, which is super cool to get in a new color. And this is a small thing, but I really like the color of their legs, too. Chen uses olive green and Wang uses teal. And those are colors that I don't see on unprinted legs very often. So I appreciate that, like, if they're just gonna give us generic civilian minifigures, at least they give us some interesting colors. Yeah, I really like that. In terms of accessories, Chen comes with a green camera, that's a pretty cool part, and Wang just comes with this golden chalice. There's everybody with hair pieces and accessories removed, and there's a look at back torso prints and alternate faces. Really good alternate faces on both of the civilians here. Wang's especially I feel like can be useful outside of the context of like just this character. As a whole, I don't think any of these three are like super interesting, but MK's the main character, he comes in every set, and as far as generic civilians go, these are some pretty good ones. So I'm satisfied here. So, overall, would I recommend this set? I'd say it depends. I do have to say, I was pleasantly surprised by this. I was going into building this thinking, I'm not gonna like this, I'm only getting this for the gold and silver demons. But I was pleasantly surprised by the build, I think it's pretty good. And I can imagine if I had this as a kid, I'd have a lot of fun playing with it. It looks good, it's got some really interesting building techniques, and the play features are fun too. I do think it may be a little bit too expensive, it's not nearly as bad as some of the other Monkey Kid prices, but I definitely feel a lot more comfortable recommending it at $60 instead of $70. But $70 definitely isn't a bad price for it, it's just not the best it could be. Minifigure selection too, I think they really could have used putting like one more hero character in here, because the minifigure selection here is really riding off the fact that it comes with the gold and silver demons. The other characters, while they're nice inclusions, like aren't that exciting, so if they just put like Pigsy or May or someone in here, I think that would have made this set a little bit more worth it. But despite that, I do think it's one of the more solid LEGO Monkie Kid sets, and I think it's especially good for LEGO Monkie Kid fans. If you really like the show, I think this is a great set to get. Because you'll like having a vehicle in these colors, you'll like having the gold and silver demons. But if you're just like a LEGO fan who's just a casual fan of LEGO Monkie Kid and only really want the gold and silver demons, you might be better off just buying those two separately. But if the entire set does pique your interest, I don't think you'll be disappointed by it. Not like my favorite set of all time, definitely tons of other sets I'd recommend over this one. But for what it is, I think it's pretty well done. But those are just my thoughts, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please press like, subscribe if you're new. I do LEGO videos like this every single day, so if you subscribe, you'll be the first to see them. Thanks for watching everybody, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.